On May 27, 2015, crews at the North Carolina Transportation Museum were hard at work preparing Norfolk & Western J-Class number 611 for her return to glory. In less than 72 hours, the pride of the Norfolk & Western would be homeward bound to Roanoke. In the meantime, volunteers were putting the finishing touches on the sole survivor of the most iconic class of steam locomotives ever built. Looking along the sleek, streamlined boiler that broadens to 102 inches, it's easy to see how the massive locomotive can produce 5,000 horsepower with its 300 psi operating pressure. The friendly crews at the museum allowed us to take a brief look inside the cab of the 611. Being built so late into the steam era, the cab is as similar to an early diesel as it is to most steam locomotives. In a scene that almost could have been, NCTM's Southern GP30 number 2601 passes the 611 while taking care of normal museum operations. Built a mere 3 years after the 611 was retired, we get a glimpse of history that never was. With the 611's first ever photo charted the following day, the J was given a rinse before the museum staff went home for the night. In just a few short hours, 152 photographers would swarm the locomotive, but for now she simmered quietly in the warm summer air. On the morning of May 28th, the 611 whistled off and went for a spin on the museum's turntable. Measuring in at 109 feet 2 1/4 inches, the massive 484 noticeably hangs over the 100-foot turntable. The locomotive had previously been featured on the turntable before her restoration at the museum's Streamliners at Spencer event in 2014. After several revolutions, the locomotive eased off of the turntable and inched her way into the 13th stall of the historic Bob Julian roundhouse. Although her skyline casing cleared the door, the fresh load of coal in her tender would not permit her to come all the way in. Because the Southern never had locomotives as large as the J class, the 611 is likely the largest locomotive to ever enter the building. With the clouds and threat of downpour promised by the weatherman already gone, the North Carolina sun began to beat down on the train and photographers. The morning portion of the photo charter would take place on the north end of the museum's property. For our first run-by, we stood atop the pedestrian bridge over the tracks. Coal had been piled so high in the locomotive's tender that about 6 inches of it scraped on the bottom of the bridge. For the morning run-bys, 611 pulled a short freight consist with a combine car on the rear of the train representing steam's last days on the Norfolk and Western. By the late 1950s, even the N&W, a faithful steam holdout, had relegated their graceful workhorses to slow branch line service. The next treat for photographers was a trio of beautifully restored classic automobiles from the late steam era. With cinders raining down, the 611 put on a nice show even with the museum's speed restrictions. Recreating a bygone era, a railway express agency truck backed up to the crossing to deliver packages to the train. Another daily occurrence of the steam era was delivery of train orders via paper and pulp. The information was given to crews on both the locomotive and the rear end of the train. 611's wheels, axles, and drive rods are just a handful of examples of the nearly 300 points on the locomotive that are automatically lubricated via mechanical operation and steam pressure forcing lubricants to her moving parts. All roller-bearing axles, precisely balanced drivers, and superior engineering allowed the J-Class to log an average of 15,000 miles per month with minimal downtime for maintenance. Just a day before her 65th birthday, 611 was posed to recreate the classic locomotive wiping photograph from the day she rolled out of N&W's East End shops. Moving to the south end of the museum's property, the 611 coupled onto a glistening string of 5 Tuscan coaches to recreate the operation she was originally built for. The NCTM's Atlantic Coastline E3 number 501 was temporarily relettered to recreate the last days of steam on the N&W when Railroad President Stuart Saunders pushed the road towards dieselization. After passing the diesel, the 611 would split her 70-inch drivers during this rundown. While the 611 got in position for the next photo opportunity, Southern Railway FP9A number 6133 was hard at work switching cars for the 611's excursion consist. At the very edge of the museum's property, another vintage car arrived at the crossing to wait for the short passenger train. While other photographers stayed at the crossing to repeat previous shots, we boarded the train and rode NS coach number 29, a former Norfolk and Western car originally used on the Powhatan Arrow.
Clear another 10.
After a long day running over the entirety of the museum's 60 acres, number 611 received a much-needed bath so she would be glistening in the summer sunshine for her homecoming later that weekend. A short night photo session was held with Southern 6133 and N&W 501. As an added bonus, Norfolk Southern's first responders SD60E was also on the property for photos. In 2 days, the mainline superstar would once again take her rightful place on the high iron, pulling hundreds of VIPs to her birthplace. To watch the 611's homecoming trip, be sure to check out our video N&W 611 Steam to Roanoke.